Hello, I'm Martin Kirby and these are the Mother's Garden podcasts. I'd like to say that every week I will post a podcast, but I'm actually not sure I can manage every week. Let's see. Sometimes it might be more frequent, maybe not. But when I do post, I'll be talking about this small Mediterranean farm that has been our home for 20 years, about the nature, about the things we see, the adventures, the people, what matters to us. And there will be some of my perspective, not only of the farm, but things beyond. If perchance my podcasts help you get to sleep, then I'm delighted. If you make it to the end, well, congratulations. Join me and let's walk and let's see what's around us and touch the earth and ground ourselves if we possibly can. There is so much in the world right now to take us away from the here and now and from the nature. Thank you for joining me. Well, dry leaves everywhere, skeletal trees, all the fig trees now stand bare and hanging on. We've got the white oak and a few others, but boy, we've had some storms in the last fortnight. That's partly why I haven't been able to post. We have been battening down the hatches, plugging the windows where the rain was coming in horizontally, and basically doing our level best to get the new harvest olive oil packed, bottle packed, labelled and away to customers in the UK and to a few people across Europe. And yet, the day before yesterday, Maggie and I took ourselves off to breathe and we walked the valley. It was a glorious 3 hours. She'd never been, in all the time that we've lived here in this valley, half an hour from the Mediterranean, this wonderful cul-de-sac almost of a valley which few people know about. She'd never been across the valley. It's a difficult climb, but to the cavern where the Neolithic community was, then on to the red sandstone that's been sculptured by rain and flowing water, and on to a whole bulbous rock which we can see from the farm. And we did that with our dog, Tilly, and we sat and had a coffee up there. And on our way back, after all the storms and the shaking that's gone on, literally, by the gales, everything was calm again, and all the leaves that had been stripped from the trees were rustling away once more. And do you know what? Down by the river, when we came back down to the base of the valley, we saw dragonflies in December. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Well, I'm not sitting outside telling you what's going on here at the moment because it's still too windy. The winds have risen again. So I'm sitting in my study, in my grandmother's old wicker-backed chair, one I remember her sitting at the window of her flat, looking out over the town of Sheringham from what was the great hotel, the Grand Court, which was demolished in the 70s. Much shame in that, to be honest, because it was a magnificent building, but it was a time, the 60s and 70s, of away with the old and in with the new. And that vast building where they rented a flat for all the time that I remembered, 15 odd years, I think. Only one of about 4 families that lived in this vast building. And there she'd sit at the window in this chair and look out. Rather melancholy in some ways, but I'm so glad to have it. Anyway, here I sit inside because it's blowing a gale outside and all you'll hear is muffle. There's a lot I want to talk about. I'm going to go now and pour myself a coffee and I'll come back and talk to you some more. There have been, with all this rain and the roaring river in the base of the valley, some surprises. We've had a sinkhole, if you can imagine, not so big, about the circular size, about as deep as a average household dustbin, but nonetheless that just appeared in the vineyard. But in the village, up on the side of the mountain, those houses that are basically close to the high rising bank of the Milakera mountain, they've had a sinkhole behind one of the houses. Quite a large cavern has suddenly opened up. And so they're now securing the properties up there. That's how much rain and water we've had. I think they were saying 15 centimetres of rain in one day at its height, but it went on all week. We were blessed, as always, actually, with a bit of an Indian summer prior to that for us to get the olives in on our farm. There were a lot, and most of the trees were laden. Anybody who's tried our olive oil and follows Mother's Garden in general, whether it's on mothersgarden.org, the website, or Instagram, will know that for 18 years now, we've been part of a family of a village cooperative here. So the week that we choose to pick our olives from our trees, we pick and join together our olives and our neighbour's olives, which we pick for her too. Those are all, again, combined with farmers from the village cooperative who pick at the same time as us, and that is the glorious olive juice that we pack, label and ship. And yes, we are very proud not only to be part of a cooperative, which is so sustaining for the village communities here, but also very proud on behalf of ourselves and our fellow farmers in the valley to have won 9 awards for the olive oil now in the celebrated Great Taste Awards, the biggest food awards in the world. So that harvest was very fulfilling, and we were blessed with the company of our friends, some from England, some from here. And exhausting, long days, but clear skies and enough sun on your back, not for it to be uncomfortable, but pleasant. And then the storms hit. So while the storm was blowing, we were in the mill working and getting things packed and put away. The rest of the things going on the farm, and in animal sense and birding sense, everything, huge numbers of chaffinches, great numbers of them, clouds of them, shoals zooming around all over the place. Obviously, a lot of migratory birds have moved on, but some of these chaffinches have migrated south towards us. We've got the meadow twitching away because on it at any one time, when it's calm enough, there can be up to 5 or 6, even more wagtails, the grey wagtails. We've got redstarts and black redstarts in the trees, blackcaps. I need to really find time now to sit down by the river and identify some of the warblers that are there. I've seen a lot of movement down there, and while we were walking through the forest and emerging back down to the river again, I wish I could have been able to discern all the movement among the evergreen trees up there, the holm oaks and the of course the pine. We are, but we're amused by the chaffinches as they rub their beaks on the bare branches now. It's going to be easy to identify them with the leaves gone. And like somebody sharpening a knife, don't they? They just drag their beaks across the branches and enjoy their company so very much. Back to the olive oil. We are not sure about how long it's going to take to get to the UK. I can tell you the quickest thing that we could do this year, in light of the transport issues affecting the UK considerably and also a little bit here in Europe, on top of the paperwork and challenges of Brexit, post-Brexit, that we have got unfiltered 3-litre tins in the UK now. We took a deep breath and we sent 2 pallets of those, but they're going quite fast. So if anybody's interested, please get onto the website and place an order. The filtered oil takes longer, of course. We have to run it through a filter, and then we'll be putting that into glass bottles and 3-litre tins, and they will follow on. We normally have been able to get these to the UK in time, good time, for Christmas presents. But the filtered olive oil, I fear, won't arrive before Christmas. But there is unfiltered, just in 3-litre tins, if you want to try olive juice. Unfiltered olive oil basically is simply pressed, and then we bottle it. It's cloudy, not clear like most people's perception of olive oil, because it has the tiny food particles in. This heightens the flavour considerably. It makes sure it's got the maximum polyphenols, the antioxidants, and the goodness. And yes, it is absolutely bursting with flavour and good things. Among the many possessions that we have here, things that we've gathered on the land and little finds here and there, are two things which we didn't find, but are the stone hand tools that came from that Neolithic cavern and were gifted to us by Pere, who I've mentioned before, the village archaeologist, unofficial but incredibly knowledgeable, wonderful man, now in his 70s. He found these, they could be actually axe heads or hand tools. We can't quite decide, but there are two from up there, and I'm longing to go up and just sit in this great open mouth of rock and sift through the sandy soil and see what else I may find. But it's such an impactful place to be, and you can imagine how back 10,000 plus years ago, at the end of the last ice age, when the valley would have been far more verdant, and on the northern bank where our house stands, it's less extreme. It would have been possibly grazing land for herds of animals for them to hunt. But on the on the south side, where the cavern is, very steep, easy to protect, shelter and everything, is where this community was based. In walking through there, through the twisted holm oaks and past this red rock with its holes and as they say, this sculpture, this amazing pattern. I think we may have put something on Instagram of that. It's the north side, so, and this now being winter, it is so rich in colour and life, and all the rocks have a beautiful emerald mosses. There are ferns growing. It's so moist and so damp there. Within the cavern, no, dry, absolutely dry and perfect for what it used to be. But the rest of it, the rock, the dead wood lying on the ground, there is so much to see. And to just sit and absorb the lichens, the colours of the lichens. So much art and ideas stem from nature. If you want to think about the National Trust paint colours, well, look at lichens growing in a place like that. Indescribable and so beautiful. The key challenge now, as we move into December, is to continue the wooding, gathering in the logs that we have stored and seasoned in the open air, stacked, I should say, and seasoned in the open air through the year, and to keep our two little wood burners humming away. The basic principle of life here is for every tree we cut down, we plant two. We've got plans for more olive trees to go in February, and we will spend the next few weeks just gathering dry wood, dead hazel and other things, and fir cones, which I may have mentioned before, just gathering fir cones so that we have enough in store. In the house, and that squeaking you can hear is Maggie stoking the main wood burner in our kitchen, which has a little oven on it, so that we make the best use of the heat that it generates. The work ongoing now is to process all of the olive oil orders as they come in, and we went live with news about the Unfiltered yesterday. So there's a lot to be done. But we need the open air. We need to get outside. The night camera isn't appropriate at the moment because it's blowing too much, and all it takes is for a blade of grass to move for it to take photographs and to drain the battery. We need still nights for that, but when it happens, we'll put it out again and see what we can find. Well, that'll do. I will talk to you some more as soon as I possibly can. Keep well, one and all. If you have had a snooze on account of listening to my podcast and are just waking up again now, I am delighted that I was helpful in getting you to sleep. And if you managed to make it to the end, well, I'm very impressed. Take good care of yourselves. Maybe we'll talk again before Christmas. Bye-bye from me, Maggie, and the Mother's Garden Menagerie.